Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Agents of SMERSH. This is Doug Mystic Eye on Board Game Geek, getting ready to do what will be our 7th episode of Agents of SMERSH. In the last episode, we encountered one of the henchmen again for the second time, little darling, which was good because we're about to take her out. We had a couple of little things, mishaps, nothing that I'm going to do a whole correction segment on, but let's talk through it. We got to the one thing that we did that we'd have to correct is in Cali Dagger's encounter. I actually rolled an injury and a heal dice. These two wounds, I thought we had 2 injuries. These would have canceled each other out. So that's really all I have to do is take that off the board. Otherwise, we're okay. So anyway, let's get going. Get into our game session right away and start with our turn for Agent Nika Suzuka. Woohoo! Okay, so I think what we're going to do with Nika is we're going to try and get her up to that additional intel on the board just over there in Georgetown. It's only a hop, skip, and a jump in the way, hopefully. She doesn't have any more UN travel tokens to get anywhere, so we're just going to have to roll the movement die and see where she can get to. Okay, well, here's our dice bowl. Oh, by the way, there's some new stuff. Yeah, okay, cool. Got a couple new games. Haven't even unwrapped them yet. Got the expansion for Relic, Nemesis, and got Bruxelles 1893. I saw some videos on that. Looks like a really good game. So, anyway, got those. But let's roll our movement die and see what happens. So we got 2. We got an airport closure where she's at, which is in La Paz. There is an airport there. So we're going to close that. And so here's the question of the day. I'm going to go back to the board. Well, actually, we can do that. We can get there either way, and I think we're going to. But I want to show you what my minor dilemma is. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, it doesn't say in the rules you can't use. See this? This is a double aerospace. I guess you can't go into it. It doesn't really say that. But I'm going to assume you can't because someone had said that that wasn't something you could do. But we could, we could go from here to here, I guess. We need 3 movements, so she is going to have to spend one of her 3 remaining resolve to get an extra movement. And we go either way. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 to here to Georgetown, and we're going to collect. We're not going to collect the intel. We're going to put it back. We're going to mix up the tokens for the villains, the henchmen again, and we're going to get a new one and see where that one is. So we're going to draw a fake card, see where we go. Yekaterinburg, that's going to be up in the Soviet Union area. So we're going to take one of our villains, henchmen, and we're going to put it there. There's intel up that way too. We've got to get somebody back over there. I guess it's going to be Cali Dagger. Now we do have a modified car. She can make a movement of 3. So we're actually going to be able to get to the intel there, at the very least. So anyway, that's going to be her. Let's get ahead of ourselves. We did that. Now we have an encounter in Georgetown in South America. So we're going to draw a South America encounter card, and it is going to be Daring Infiltration. Now this time I'm going to make sure I get my response group right on her because I screwed that up last time. It's going to be page 35, response group A. We're going to draw a fake card. We did take intel to place the henchman's lair, so it's going to be a 4. Alright, let's go to the book and see what happens. Okay, so basically with our Daring Infiltration, we're going to be using a response group A. And our choices are escape, confront, be reckless, wait, challenge, be careful, be spontaneous. Well, with the low we have a high persuasion, but with the low we have other stats that aren't so great. So I think we're going to well, we got good hand-to-hand. We could challenge, be careful, be spontaneous. Let's be careful. She's not good at sneaking around. That's not her strong suit. So we're going to be careful. So 6. Now we're going to get the book out. Okay, so this turned out pretty good for us. So it's page 35. We took number 6 from response group A, and number 4. It says, Agent Max is not only a friend, but in some ways your protege. When she wants to go into a mob headquarters alone to retrieve a set of stolen blueprints, you worry she may be in over her head. Warning her to take care, you set up a sniper rifle to watch for any nightmare visitors or nighttime visitors. It says test spycraft -1. Our spycraft isn't that great, it's only 1, but we pass with weapons use And weapons use is one of Nika's advanced skills. So we pass automatically, so let's go take a look. We don't have to roll dice. Let's take a look and see what happens on the pass effect here. It says, a car speeds around the corner and stops suddenly in front of the building. A man jumps out with a gun, and you shoot him in the leg. Inside the building, you hear gunshots. Though through the window, you see a shadow advancing slowly upon Agent Max. You take out the advancing figure, and Max retrieves the blueprints. 2 intel, or flip up 2 intel from the pool. Well, we only have 2 face-down intel. I guess that could be useful, but I think I'm just going to take, off camera I'll do that, and add 2 more intel to our pool. Gives a better chance of succeeding at defeating Dr. Lobo in his lair once we have encountered the remaining henchmen. So that was another very successful round for Nika Suzuka, and we're going to continue on and draw her villain card. Yeah, so Nika's definitely rocking it out. She's doing a good job for us here. But let's draw her end of turn event. So that's going to be, says China arrests thousands of citizens accused of involvement in acts of terrorism. Now you got to remember in this game, and you're probably wondering why all the airports keep closing if you haven't played the game. The world is basically under assault from this organization, and so all these terrorist attacks are happening, and things are getting progressively worse and worse as we go, and these are some of the events that are taking place that are causing some cities to close their airports and deny travel, etc. So anyway, what we're going to have to do here is we're going to remove intel from Asia. We actually don't have any. Well, let me think about that. Moscow is considered Asia, so we are going to have to remove that intel from Moscow, and we're going to add intel to Dakar in, I mean, that really bites, because that's exactly where we're going to be sending Cali Dagger. This has happened to us a couple times where we've taken intel away from areas we really need to be in. Anyway, we're going to add that to Dakar, so I'll get that done. Okay, we now have intel in Dakar, and we're going to move on to our next turn with Agent Sheena Mars. Now Sheena's over here in Swagman's Hope, and she has a couple of choices on how she gets out of it. She can take a full turn and move to Perth, or she can use a... she hasn't had the best of luck, and her skills are decent, but she doesn't have a lot going on. You know, we could just take that red UN transport token and just get somewhere, which I think is what we're probably going to end up doing, because we've kind of cleared the board in Australia. Not a lot going on there. We could go to one of her sites, locations of her secret mission, perhaps, or we could go send her to see if she can take on a villain. I mean, she's not hopeless. She's got 2 good skills, one in spycraft and one in hand-to-hand, plus seduction and luck, and she's also got another point of resolve left. She could take on one of the villains. She's also tough. She has 4 hits and she still has 3 left. Maybe we just go straight there and see what happens. Go to Yurjuvaka and deal with that. Because we know we can move Cali 3 to get to another intel. And perhaps flip over and get another henchman on the board. And if we get 2 more henchmen, we can actually attack Dr. Lobo's lair, which I'd like to do before he advances any further, makes it tougher for us. So let's do that. So we're going to spend her special red UN token, and we're going to take her from Swagman's Hope all the way over to Yekaterinburg in the Asia, which is actually Soviet Union on the Trans-Siberian Railway, and you can see that way up over here. She is now, if you can keep that in camera, she's now right here, so we're going to go and deal with her encounter there and see what henchman she has taken on. So let's see, who do we encounter? We're going to encounter, that is going to be Mr. Big. Dum 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 dum. So we're going to go over to the Mr. Big's board there, and we're going to see what we have to do to encounter him. Okay, here's Mr. Big, guys. Now, I'm going to read his card to you since this is the first time we've encountered him. Mr. Big got his start working for small city mafia groups. He soon established a reputation for himself and moved up the criminal network until SMERSH requested his services. He has a big appetite for face smashing and does not like small talk. Often seen in a suit and a tie with large jewels, encrusted diamonds, and gemmed rings on all 10 fingers, Mr. Big loves a good brawl. Okay, this isn't too bad for her because we get to, it says test hand to hand, which is actually, oddly enough, her second best skill. That's a good thing. So we got to test hand to hand to avoid getting put down by Mr. Big. If we pass, we get to up any skill, and if we fail, we lower athletics. Okay, so we're going to go do that. We're going to go to the dice roller and do that, and take on Mr. Big. Okay, well here is our base die, and then we're going to get to add 2 to that for our hand-to-hand combat. So here's the bag. I'm rolling up the die. We got the black one. That's good. That means we're probably going to get a success, hopefully. And one more. We got the brown one, which is in. I think that's one of the other weaker ones. Yeah. Anyway, let's roll our dice. Okay, here we go. Yes, awesome. So we got 1 success and 2 nothings. So we didn't get hurt. We didn't do anything. Nothing bad happened. That's pretty outstanding. So as a reward, we're going to get to up any skill. You know, I think we're going to up Sheena Mars's. Her spycraft's already maximum. Her hand-to-hand's at 2. Let's up her athletics to 2. Make her the physical one of the group. And in addition to that, we get to go over here and we get to up that. Now, the amount of players are I play that as the amount of characters, not the amount of players. So there are 3 characters. So we need 1 more encounter with a henchman, successful encounter with a henchman, to be able to take on Dr. Lobo's lair. That was a very, very good turn for her. Now all we have to do is turn up her villain card and see what the end of turn event reads like. So here it is. It says, Senators Balk and Haiti's declaration of war against Florida. Okay, so Haiti declared war on Florida. That's interesting. We're going to remove intel from North America. We actually don't have any in North America. We're going to add intel to North Atlantic and Paris. We're going to close the airport in La Paz. I believe the airport in La Paz is already closed. So we're just going to add that intel. One in the North Atlantic, which basically I'm placing these down while I'm talking to you, and the other one in Paris. That's great. That gives Cali Nomi count intel on the board. We only have 4. We're in good shape. So we're fine. And we're going to clear at least another 1 or 2 this turn. Or at least 1, because Cali's going to grab one of them. Now we're not going to put any more in the pool. I think we're just going to turn up, see if we can get another henchman going. Because then if we can beat the henchman in the next turn, before Dr. Lobo's track advances another one, we could win the game. Anyway, that was Sheena Mars. Let's move on to Cali Dagger and the last turn for our round. So Rockstar Cali Dagger has actually done really well, and she's got a couple good things. But what we're going to use this turn, so we can ensure we're going to get somewhere, is her modified car. It allows her to move 3. We're going to go to the board and see where she wants to move. She's got a couple of choices. Okay, so what we're going to do with Cali Daggers, we're going to use that car. I was debating on whether she moves here, but I think we're going to start working her way across so she can take these lower ones while she's going to pop over here to Paris. We're going to claim this token, but we're not going to take it. We're going to shuffle up the henchman again, and we're going to draw another henchman. So here's the henchman token. I don't know which one it is, and then we're going to draw a fate card to see where that is located. That is in Moscow. That could not be much better for us because we can get to Moscow pretty quickly. That's right there. Heck, Cali could guaranteed get there next turn, and she's one of the better people to do it with since her skills are all pretty advanced. And then we have to do our encounter in Paris, so we're going to have a European encounter. Let's see what that looks like. In disguise. It's not her best suited thing, but it's going to be response group D, page 4. So let's go to the book. Oh, we also have to draw our fate card. Let's see what that is. Now we did collect intel, so it's going to be a 5. Okay, so we got page 4, response group D, with intel 5. So let's go to the book. Okay, well here are our choices, guys. We got response group D. Remember, this is in disguise. So we can snoop around, we can charm, we can act strangely, act innocent, use force, praise, won't be fooled. I think we're going to do charm because that's most likely to be a persuasion check. So I think we're going to do number 2, charm. So we're going to do page 4, response 2, with intel 5. I'll pull up the encounter and we'll read along. Okay guys, here we are at 4, 2, and 5. That is page 4, selection 2, which was charm, and 5 for taking the intel. It says, police have arrested American billionaire pornographer Staff Avery. Oh, that's an interesting name. But the arrest has not been made public yet. Avery has been known to meet with SMERSH agents from time to time. Evidence has emerged with staff plans to provide provocative media services to use in SMERSH propaganda. While he is behind bars, you disguise yourself as Avery. In a sleeveless shirt and tight jeans, you meet with low-level SMERSH members to inform them that you are no longer interested in helping them. One of the members knows Staff Avery's face. You must be convincingly charming and greasy. Well, so this is interesting because we have all women and we're playing a guy, so she's got to be super cool, so we get to test deception or spycraft. Well, I was hoping for persuasion, deception and spycraft, so we can do spycraft at 2, or we pass with disguise, which we don't have. So we have stealth and driving and piloting. So this is going to be probably not something we succeed at unless we get really lucky. I think that we're going to have to do spycraft and make 2 results because at least we're going to get multiple dice, and she can spend another a resolve to get another die added to the roll. So let's do that and hope and pray for the best. Okay. Okay. Well, there's her base die. She's going to get 1 die for her actual. That's the green one. That's a good one. For her spycraft, which is a 1, and then I am going to spend 1 of her resolve. That puts her down to 2, where she is going to pull another die out. So we got the black die. That's good. That means there's if we rolled that, we would have been successful. Anyway, let's roll our die and see how it goes. Okay, here we go, guys. Wow, we did succeed. 2 successes and an injury token. That's acceptable. We'll take it. So I've put another injury token on her sheet here, as you can see, and now we're going to go back to the book and see what her success brings her. Okay, so for succeeding at this, it says pass. They believe you to be the real staff, although they're shocked at your proclamation that SMERSH would damage itself if it invaded the media. They buy it for now. Flip up 1 intel token anywhere. Well, we might as well flip up 1 in the pool. We have a couple on the board, but I'm not using them to gather more intel. I'm using them to get henchmen on the board, so I don't really care what they are. Let's flip up 1 more in the pool and see what we get, because that's going to help us get closer to victory. Okay, here's our intel pool, so we're going to flip up 1 more. We've got a radio, so let's see, what do we need actually? If we were to get to 5, which is 1 more, we're going to need 2 guns, 2 radios, and a double agent. So guess what? We've got everything we need to defeat Dr. Lobo turned up in our pool right now. We just need to take on 1 more henchman successfully to win. But the last thing we have to do in this turn is draw Cali's end of turn event card and see what that turns up. Okay, so it says AP Press front page article reads. Let me get that so you focus for you. Here, let me back up some so you can see the actual card. There you go. Are these the end of times? Remove intel from North America. Well, we did have 1 in North Atlantic is not North America. That's good. And we add intel to Macau. We also close the airport in our current city, which is Paris. That kind of bites, but it is what it is. So we're going to do that, and I will do the airport closure off camera. Actually, I'll just do the whole thing off camera, so I don't have to bore you with the details. So we're going to close the current city. We're going to close Paris. We're going to add intel to Macau. Okay, well that ends our turn. You know, I think what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to do an extended session. We are currently 1 round away. All we have to do is have a successful encounter with that henchman, and we're 1 round away from winning. So why don't we continue on and just wrap right back around to Nika Suzuka's turn and continue. She's in a place where she can get to intel. We can get another henchman on the board. See how it goes. So let's do that. Okay, back to Nika Suzuka's turn. We're going to roll her movement die. Okay, here's our dice bowl. Let's roll it and see what happens. We get a 2 or a 1+ with an airport. She is in Georgetown. There is no airport there, and the airports around her are closed. So I think what we're just going to do is we're going to move 2. I'll show you where she's going to go. Okay, here's Nika. So she's going to pop over to Panama City, then she's going to pop into the North Atlantic. That means we're going to have an encounter at sea. That should be rather interesting. That is not part of any location, so it's just going to be a sea encounter. Woohoo! Now, before we do that, though, she is going to absolutely take the intel off the board, and we're going to shuffle up the tokens again, the 3 remaining tokens for our henchmen, and get one out. So there's one of our henchman tokens. Let's see where she ends up being. And Ulan Ude. Let's see, where's that? That's going to be. That sounds like someplace in. Let's see, Indonesia, Japan. We'll find it and get that on the board. Okay, so our next token for our henchman is going to be right there. So Sheena Mars, who's in Yekaterinburg, is able to go to 2 different locations and take on a villain. We also, our henchman, we also have Cali Dagger's ability to do that. So that was good. Now let's go on to her encounter in the North Atlantic Ocean. Well, first, we are going to draw a fate card because we need this number here, 4. And I'll show you this is good because we didn't do an encounter at sea yet. So this will show you something just a little bit different. Okay, so when you're doing an encounter at sea, you're going to roll on this chart here, and you're going to roll a d6, and it's going to give you your page and your response group from the other side, and then you're going to use this as your final number. So even though we got intelligence, since we're at sea, we're going to use that number regardless. So let's roll our die and see what happens. So it's a 6, license to kill. So we're going to do page 51, response group H. Let's move that over and see what response. Now we got to flip it over to response group H, right here. That's going to be this one right here. So we got be nosy, all in, the setup, cheat. I'm just a natural. It's my good looks. Well, let's look and see. We're talking about Nika here. So persuasion and hand-to-hand are her goodness. So why don't we do... this is license to kill, huh? Really, response group H? That's kind of odd. It doesn't seem like license to kill. It says response group H, though. Yep, okay. So I think what we're going to do is, let's do... I'm just a natural. We're going to do that. Number 5. Okay, so I'm going to flip out the book and we'll get to the correct spot. Okay, here we are, guys. You are on board a luxury liner on which President Carlos Osorio of Guatemala is traveling. One of his political advisors asks a favor of you in return for setting you up with a private meeting. Well, here you are, an unbeatable card player. You shrug, modestly. It's a gift. There is a high-stakes game of baccarat going on tonight, and one of Osorio's rivals, a personal enemy of my own. The game is rigged in his favor, but I would take great pleasure in seeing him defeated. It will kill him to lose everything. What do you say? Count me in. Okay, well, we're going to do a gambling action. Now, here's the bad news. Our person who has gambling is actually Sheena Mars, but that's okay. We're still going to get to do a gambling action, so that'll be the second one for the game. It'll be worth seeing for you guys. Let's get that done. Okay, so here are our 5 cards. Now I have to shuffle because I depleted the fate deck. So I'm shuffling the fate deck while I'm talking. Now this is our hand. So what we can do is we can trade in 1 card. So I'm going to have to trade in that 6. I don't know, man, that's an awful gamble to try and get a straight. Not just an inside straight like that. But there aren't as many cards in this deck as far as how far down they go. Like it's not impossible, but maybe that would end up being nothing. Or I can, the other thing I can do is spend a resolve to discard and redraw up to 5 cards. So maybe we'll do that. We'll get rid of the 6 and the 9, keep the 10 Jack Queen, see if we get something better. To get a straight, though, I'd have to get a king, and the odds of that happening are not that great. So, anyway, why don't we do that? Well, okay, so I'm going to spend a resolve so I can get rid of a couple of cards. Let's see. Let me think about this off camera, and I'll come back and do that. Well, we don't want to completely take away our ability to get a straight, so I'd rather try and get a high straight, not on the inside. So we got 10 Jack Queen. We could go King Ace, or I could get rid of the Well, if I get rid of the 6 and the 9, let me see, 10, Jack. God, I need a king or an 8. I guess I should keep this, right? Should keep that and try and get this either an 8 or a 9, or at least a good pair, and get rid of the 6. That way I don't have to spend a resolve to do that, because that'll leave her with only 1. Let's do that. I'm going to get rid of the 6, and we're going to draw a card and see what we get. Okay, I got to finish shuffling these. I don't really shuffle them very well. Let's hope we get something. Oh man. Okay, well, there we go. 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Pretty nice. I can't. My luck this game has been amazing. Anyway, okay, we got a straight. Now we got to draw the cards for the bad guys. They're going to get 5 cards as well, and see what we get. So we're going to get a Jack, another 6. Uh-oh, it's another club. Oh, there's a villain card mixed in there. Hold on. That's not good. Uh-oh, pair of Jacks. Still not looking good for him. Let's see, what do we get next? A Queen. I don't think he's going to win. He's definitely not going to win at this point. So, and a 9. So, okay. So we actually won. I can't believe I pulled that 8. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we won our gambling check against. So he did get a pair of Jacks. We would have been hard pressed if all we got was a pair, but we lucked out. We didn't, so we do get a win here on our gambling check. Okay. Win. You always enjoy beating politicians. You're accused of cheating, but you don't need to. You're just that good. President Osorio's advisor is delighted and arranges a one-to-one meeting for you to... Wait, what? Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yes. 2 intel. So we get to add 2 intel to our pool. You know, we don't have much intel left on the board to put into the board, so that's going to be interesting. And that's the end of our encounter. So that is a sea encounter. So you see we had an encounter on a boat. That was pretty slick, and we're going to move on then to our end of turn event. Let me get the villain deck out because we're getting kind of low on those. Well, we're fine on those cards. Okay, let's do our end of turn event here for Nika. And it is, where are you guys? There you go. Okay, it is. Australia is kicked out of the United Nations. No, that's not good. So we're going to add intel to Melbourne, and we're going to close the Sydney airport. It is already closed, but we do add intel to Melbourne. Okay, I have done that, and we are complete. That is going to be the end of, that was one of the Australian add-on villain cards. Cool. Okay, that's going to end Nika Suzuka's turn. Okay, so now we're going to go to Sheena Mars. She's actually over here in Ketzenberg. So let's roll our movement die. Let's hope to God she can get to one of those 2 locations. She needs a 2. Actually, she's on the Trans-Siberian Railway, so no matter what she moves, she's going to get to one of those villains, one of the henchmen. But let's roll her die anyway and see what happens. It doesn't matter. We're going to move. So I think we're going to move to the one that's farthest. Let me show you. This one here, because it is the last in the chain of the Ulan-Ude, or however you pronounce that. Is last Ulan-Ude is the last in this Trans-Siberian Railway, so she can just move there automatically. I think we do have to roll a die in case we have to close an airport or something. So let's go down to the dice bowl. At least roll our movement die and see what happens. See, so we moved 2, but we have to close. There's no airport where she's at, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, because I was on the Siberian Railway, we are going to encounter a villain, one of the henchmen. Let's see who that is. So, man, we're getting spread out now. We're going to encounter the one we haven't, Fedor Maximov, right here. Awesome. Our first encounter with Fedor. Let's go see how Sheena Mars manages against the henchman Fedor Maximov. Okay, here's Fedor Maximov. It says, let's see here, Fedor has, this is the first time we played him, so I'm reading his background story, first time we've encountered him. Fedor has been with SMERSH since the 1940s, when it was a Soviet organization that existed solely for the hunting and assassination of spies. While most of the original members left the field of espionage after SMERSH was shut down, Dr. Lobo enlisted Fedor to help build his empire. Fedor has a particularly deep hatred of the the West and will not hesitate to take out civilians or spies alike. So what we have to do is test persuasion for Sheena. That's not great, but it's not terrible. At least she has a skill point in it, to outsmart Fedor. All we have to do is get one success. If we get one success, then we'll advance him up and we'll be at 5. And actually, if she succeeds at this, this could be the end of the game. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go to the dice roller and see what we can do. Okay, now remember, Sheena has a persuasion of 1. So we have to. Is that what we have to use? Persuasion, yeah, persuasion to outsmart. Oops, got 2 of the dice out of the bag. Persuasion to outsmart Fedor. So she has a persuasion of 1. That's going to give her 1 die. And since this could end the game, she's going to spend one of her resolve to get an additional die. We want her to succeed because this will literally end the game if she beats him. Okay, let's get 1 die. We get the brown die. That's not very good. And we got that die right there. So that's our 2 dice, the green and the brown. So let's roll our dice and see what happens. Okay, guys, this could very well end our game session. Should be kind of neat and successful, which I love. All right, let's roll and see what happens. Okay, well, Sheena was not that badly wounded because remember she healed last turn, so she's got 2 injuries, putting her down to 3, but she succeeded. So she succeeded in killing Fedor, which puts his up to level 2, but more importantly, she gets to up any skill, which isn't going to be relevant because here's what happens. We have now reached our intelligence quotient, so what we do at that point is we go to the intel pool. So there's essentially 2 ways to win Agents of SMERSH. One is to defeat all 4 of the henchmen, which we did not do. We have not done that. We were 1 away from defeating Darling. We had encountered and successfully encountered all of the other ones, but we hadn't defeated him. The other way is to get the track, the location intelligence track, up to the required amount, which is what we've done. We hit 5. So what happens now is the game ends immediately. And we already know that we have this in the bag, but we're going to turn up the rest of the intelligence tokens. And if we meet what is on Dr. Lobo's card, we win. So let's go to Dr. Lobo's card and take a look at that as well. So well, I won't move over to it. I'm just going to tell you we're on the 6th spot. So we need 2 guns. Boom. We need 2 radios. Boom. And we need a double agent to beat Dr. Lobo in his lair. So what does that mean? That means we have won Agents of SMERSH. This has been I'm going to tell you guys, this game is not as easy as it appeared in this session. I typically don't do this well with dice rolls. I mean, heck, almost every roll we made succeeded in some way. I was so disappointed when we lost the dice roll because we had made so many, it was kind of out of control. But that said, this does officially end our game session. And we won. That's very cool. Normally, I'm going to tell you guys, normally the last time we won, it was by defeating all the henchmen. We never successfully, we weren't that successful at getting the track up, the location intelligence track up. We had to go the defeating the henchman route. But anyway, yeah, so that was pretty cool, and I can't believe we won. That was pretty awesome. So let me just give you my final thoughts on Agents of SMERSH, and we'll conclude our session and our entire series. Thanks. Okay, so what do I think of Agents of SMERSH, especially now that we've added the Swagman's Hope, Swagman's Hope expansion? Well, I liked it to begin with. It is a fun game. There are ways to make it more difficult and easier. Like I said, typically it doesn't go quite this easy for us. We never lost an encounter with one of the henchmen. We never lost, we only once or twice lost. We never really lost the intelligence. We only had 1 intelligence overflow. Like I said, this really could. We beat the gambler almost immediately when he came out. I didn't roll for the shadow. I probably should have done that, but I just took it out and didn't do it. There was enough going on. But we could have had the shadow show up too, which might have slowed us down a little bit. In this case, maybe 1 turn. I don't know. I don't see that we could have really lost. But that, again, that's not usually the way it goes. Usually we lose intelligence. We have penalties against us. We have problems that come up. This was almost too easy for us. But regardless of that, we did succeed, and quite handily, which is, like I said, I've probably lost this game more than I've won, I guess. But anyway, I like storytelling games like this. I love Tales of the Arabian Nights. I like games that like Fortune and Glory. Some of my favorite games, and if you look at my channel, you'll see them. A Touch of Evil, Fortune and Glory. This one, Tales from Arabian Nights. There's other Zombie Side. Games that have more of a story feel to them, I absolutely love, and I definitely love doing them for sessions like this. But just in play, this and Tales of Arabian Nights are great games when you have a group of people who just want to enjoy kind of a role-playing feel. They get to play a character in a world and tell a cool, fun story, but don't have the time to actually role-play. That's one of the things I like. I used to be a big role player. I designed role-playing game books. I had many published, award-nominated world setting. Gothos and the Hunt Rise of Evil was my baby years and years ago when D20 was popular. So that's my background, and that's probably one of the reasons I'm attracted to games like this. But anyway, the thing I like about this one in particular is the spy theme is different. A lot of the other ones are based in fantasy, and it's nice to get a change there. Another one that I can think of when I'm thinking of games like this is Police Precinct, which also takes you out of the fantasy genre. That's a pretty good one. But this one's a lot of fun, and it is much more like Police Precinct is nothing like this game in gameplay. This game is its closest cousin would be Tales of Arabian Nights. It's got the same storytelling type mechanism with the big book of encounters and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you, this one is fun because of the campy spy theme. Tales of the Arabian Nights, I'll tell you the biggest difference between the two. If I didn't have either and I was going to pick one up first, I would eventually pick up both if I were you, but if I was to pick one up first, I'd pick up Tales of the Arabian Nights. The reason being is because I have played that game where we're sitting around the table with tears rolling down our cheeks laughing at what's going on. This one, while it's campy and fun, very fun, is not as funny and not always quite as entertaining as Tales of Arabian Nights. So, but they're both fantastic games. They offer a different experience. The experience with this one, obviously, is the campy James Bond spy theme. And in our case, we had a Charlie's Angels thing going on with Nika Suzuka, Sheena Mars, and Cali Dagger. I do like that they all have different skills and abilities, and you can up their skills. A lot of fun. Anyway, highly recommend this game if you like those types of games. If you're a hardcore strategy gamer, this may not be the game for you. You can see that there's a ton of luck involved, as there is with any of these types of games. Because there's a lot of dice rolling in it. You can mitigate, where you do get some strategies, you get to mitigate some of the dice rolling with things like your resolve and some special cards and abilities, but still, massive amount of luck involved. So with that said, we have had a rather long session this time. I'm going to end it there, and rather than have an additional short session, we're just going to have one big long one to end the game. And thanks for watching, guys. This is a lot of fun. I got a couple of choices for the next one. I think I'm going to surprise you. I do want to circle back around and do a big zombie side one, but I got some things to do first. I was really hoping all my extra stuff for Myth would have come by now, but they've had some rather significant delays, and it's unfortunate. Some people are even asking for refunds. I like Myth enough that I'm just going to wait and get the stuff. Now that we've all figured out how to play Myth, it's great. Also, before I let you off the hook, I did want to recommend something else to you. This is a short game, but we played it a couple of weekends now, and it is this one, Splendor. I know this is a session for a storytelling game. This is not a storytelling game. This is purely a little strategy game. It takes about 30 minutes, and what I'm going to tell you about it is we sat down to play it once to fill a gap in between some game sessions while we're waiting for some of our group to finish something else. We ended up playing it 7 times in a row. We had so much fun playing the game. Some people likened it to the same feel. It's not even remotely the same game, but the same feel as like, oh God, I'm blanking out now, of course. The card building, deck building game. Dominion, sorry. It's not at all like Dominion. There's no deck building element to Splendor. But what they were saying is it has that that same feel where you can sit down and play it multiple times in a row in a short period of time and still enjoy it equally every time. That's the key point there. And we did. So I wanted to recommend that at the end of this game. If you're setting up to play an Agents of SMERSH game and you're getting your players, you need filler, play Splendor. Awesome. Awesome game. Anyway, take care. I'll see you next time, and I really appreciate you watching us through to the end. If you did enjoy it, please make some commentary. I always like guidance in what I need to do next. Planning on stepping my game up and getting a second camera so I can do some video over video stuff, things like that. May need some financial assistance in an Indiegogo or campaign, but I do want to step it up and add some new tools. I've got tons of video editing tools and things like that now that I've just bought on my own. But anyway, thanks again, appreciate it, and please provide all the feedback you can. Share the heck out of this stuff for me so I can build up this channel to a point where it makes some sense for me to continue. It is right now. I've got plenty of subscribers. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. But we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.